close out at 7:30. We'll be on track for that. So don't worry about rushing. The library actually closes at 8 o'clock. If you haven't already found it, the restrooms are out the door and to the left in the corner there. And then again, if you're just settling in and getting into your spot, when you get a moment, go ahead and fill in the center section of your response form. Please just go ahead and note any questions or concerns that you're walking into the class with tonight, things that you want to see addressed or answered, and we'll do our best to get to that. And if not, we'll talk about how we can do that.
Wow, we might need to push this one.
It's like, chairs?
Yeah, we might need to pull some chairs. There's 2 here, 3. This one? On the ends? Hey, how are you? Good. There's a chair here, there, and one in the corner. And we're gonna put up another one.
So again, as we're getting settled and getting started, you guys are at the Maximizing Social Security workshop, so make sure we're all in the right place, here to learn the right stuff. Again, we're here tonight just to talk about understanding that benefit and how we can maximize that and just how it help us meet our financial goals in retirement. And as we start, there's always the legal side we got to address. So a couple disclaimers. The content we're covering is not necessarily endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. But all the information we're providing is educational information. It comes from the Social Security website. We're not, that's just tiny print.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about reading it. I think it's all in your book. But again, we're not here to sell you any investment products or insurance products tonight. We're just trying to help bring education to help make this a little more comfortable to understand and approachable. We do not address any individual tax or legal advice. So again, if you have any concerns related to your individual situation, we always want to instruct you to talk with your trusted advisor. So tonight you have a tag team duo that's presenting. Myself and my husband Sean is somewhere around, maybe gathering more chairs. I'm going to go ahead and start us off. I'll introduce myself, and then Sean will come up a little later and introduce himself as well. So I'd like to just start just a little bit and talk about why we're all here today and why I love doing what I do. And it starts, I love showing just a picture, and this is about 20 years ago when I was working as a project engineer, working at FedEx, married with 4 young children, all under age 6, and really had grown tired of the rat race. This is a picture that reminds me of that time because you see Sean in there.
I'm there.
You see our twin daughters. And no, that's not Kamala Harris as the troop leader, but all the girls, they're at a Daisy Girl Scout meeting. It was just one of the things that I couldn't be part of when I was busy in my corporate life. So again, I realized I was running tired of that, no longer interested in climbing the corporate ladder, and really had just gotten to a point where I was quiet quitting. And again, at that time, that term didn't exist, but that's what I was doing. To my advantage, FedEx offered an early retirement buyout, and I took it. And so, fast forward 15 years later, the kids are all going off to college. I'm that much closer to retirement, and then suddenly realizing that I had stopped contributing to my 401k when I left corporate America. So that kind of put me on a trajectory just to find information and financial strategies that would help me catch up on my retirement savings, maybe have enough to leave a financial legacy for our family. But also at that same time, I started learning about life insurance and life insurance as a tool used by many wealthy families like the Rockefellers. And I like to say I feel like I have a personal connection with them because my alma mater, Spelman College, is named in honor of Laura Spelman Rockefeller. And the college was started with financial donations from the Rockefeller family. So all of that really inspired me to start Crown Jewel Financial Services, and really just to help empower other families to protect their hard-earned wealth and pass that on, not just for retirement, but also for creating legacies. So in order to do all of that, it really always starts with information and education. And so I'm sure that's what you guys are all here tonight for. So we'll get right into that. Thank you for indulging me for a moment. So we have a couple course objectives here, and we're going to talk about some fundamental planning considerations that you want to be aware of. We'll talk about some of the complexities with the Social Security system and how it plays a role in your overall retirement income planning. We'll also talk about the monetary consequences and benefits associated with claiming early versus late on your benefits. There's some key spousal decisions that affect you if you're married or divorced or maybe even a widow or in a guardianship situation. There's things that we'll talk about there that you want to be aware of. So, in any holistic financial plan, you start with your goals and objectives, but then you look at the opportunities and the risks that may impact that. And that's something that we do in our financial planning. We look at some considerations that I'll talk about here, and then work to see how we can minimize the risk and optimize the opportunities for you to reach your goals. So the first consideration is longevity. And so longevity is basically, we're all living longer due to medical miracles. People are living in retirement now like 25, 30, 35 years, where, generations in the past, it might have only been 10, 15 years in retirement. So longevity is just basically having enough money to last your whole life. Then the next one is liquidity, and that's just having access to liquid cash in the event of an emergency that you can get your hands on quickly without having to liquidate or sell a real estate property or something like that. The next one is inflation, and so I feel like I don't have to say much about that. We hear it in the news every day. Eggs prices are going sky high. And so that's really just an example of how your purchasing power is buying less and less because products costs are going up. Then there's the market volatility, market fluctuations. And so again, if you have a lot of your savings in an equity-based fund and you start withdrawing against that, if you're doing that at a time when the market is down, then that's going to have a negative impact on how long that savings can stretch. And so that may change your plans down the road if you're in that type of situation. Then mortality. So if you have a partner or a spouse and you're both contributing financial resources to the household, and one of them suddenly dies and passes, that's a loss of income that you weren't expecting. And so that's an adjustment that has to be made. The last one being taxes. Again, I don't know when taxes might go down, but at some point I really expect they're going to go up. And if that happens, that has a negative effect on the amount of money that you have as your take-home pay. And so there are strategies where you can get a tax plan strategy to look at how you can mitigate that impact and work against that. So these are the 6 planning considerations that we walk through and want to make sure people are looking at. Next thing, let's talk about the potential impact of maximizing your Social Security. And so in this hypothetical example, and again, most of you have already cracked your book, but if you want to follow along, there's some things in there where you can fill in the blanks and you'll have this to refer back to when you go home later. But in this hypothetical example, we have a husband and wife. They're both 66 years old. The wife is receiving benefits at just under $2,000 a month. Over the course of a year, that's about $24,000. So as far as her lifespan, if a female reaches age 66, the life expectancy is that she'll live another 22 years. So if we take this times 22, we're projecting that she would have more than $500,000 coming into her household just from Social Security. But when we add in her husband, he's the same age, receiving the same amount of benefit, but his life expectancy is just a little less. His is 19 years, and that's typically the case with males. But when you combine this all together, you see that they have almost $1 million worth of income coming into the household from Social Security. And again, even with this straight line calculation, this is not adding in cost of living adjustments. And so I show you all this to say that it adds up over time, and it's a big portion if you're working from the front end to maximize that to work for your retirement needs long term. Now, on the flip side, there are potential costs associated with planning mistakes. And so there's a study that highlights that an average individual could lose up to $182,000 in potential income over the life of their span of claiming Social Security. And that's based on if they claim at a less than optimal time. And so, again, I'm looking at this room. I know none of us want to be average. We want to be better than average. And so this is all about just understanding what your benefits are and how this fits in such that you're not unknowingly leaving money on the table, okay? So when we talk about Social Security in your retirement, let's look at just a few facts. One fact here, just last year in 2024, about 68 million Americans received $1.5 trillion in Social Security benefits. So that's a lot of money coming out of our national budget. But when we look at an individual that's receiving Social Security benefits, on average, that represents about 30% of their overall financial resources. So when you look at it like that, again, 30%, that ranges from, I've seen as much as 35%, others it might be 25. The point is, it's a significant portion of your overall financial picture, and it's something you want to, again, not take too lightly. You want to understand it on the front end and make good choices with that. So, obviously, in retirement, you need income for covering your basic necessities, just basic living expenses. But then you also want to have those additional dollars to cover the things you want in retirement, things that will help make retirement more enjoyable, the thing we all look forward to enjoying. So, but in retirement, you also have these same risks that we talked about earlier. And again, these are risks that could, they apply to all of us. Maybe just in varying degrees, maybe at varying times, but we're all at risk of these things. And these are the types of things you want to plan for on the front end and see where you can mitigate that to help your financial situation. So as far as income sources in retirement, you may have other sources like maybe a pension if you're lucky enough to still have that. You may have a 401k or an investment portfolio that you're drawing money from. Maybe, I know a lot of people have real estate properties where, again, you have income flowing from renting those out. You might have an annuity product where it provides guaranteed lifetime income. But again, today we're just going to focus on just the Social Security side of that. But again, this is showing how that fits into other resources if you have them. So again, Social Security represents a large part or a significant part of someone's retirement income, and it's something that you want to maximize and understand how to do that. So this is a mind-boggling topic because there's so many. We'll talk about how complex it is, but if it starts to feel overwhelming, one thing we like to point to is just keep this key principle in mind, that if you protect the income that you need in retirement to cover those basic living expenses and take care of that, then you're in a position where you can maximize those dollars to provide more that will allow you to do the things you want in retirement. So if we can kind of use that as a guiding principle and kind of center us back when we're looking at all these different options. So with our agenda tonight, we're going to talk about some of the planning challenges, definitions. Sean's going to walk us through 5 different case studies to show some of the decision scenarios. We'll talk about cost of living, correcting a mistake, and then we'll close out again with how do you start maximizing those benefits. So when we talk about planning challenges, we talk about kind of what I've just been saying. Social Security is just a complicated system because, one, I'll show you here, if you're a married couple, you have up to about 9,000 different planning combinations that you can choose from to claim your benefits. And so that's just mind-boggling right there. The other thing is, the Social Security Administration, they can't coordinate your Social Security benefit with any other resources that you have, like your pension or your retirement accounts. And then, good luck if you call the Social Security Administration office. I've heard stories of people sitting on there all day for 5 hours, and all during that time is saying, someone's gonna be with you in 20 minutes. But, 5 hours it took for someone to answer the phone. But if you get them on the phone, they're not able to give you any support or advice specifically on how best to utilize and take advantage of your benefits. So you're kind of left in the dark there. But then the last thing is, rules and laws change every year. There's a lot of rules that came into effect for 2025. I know there's a lot of changes being talked about now. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for 2026. But all this together just makes it a mind-boggling exercise in trying to figure out what's best for you. So I'm gonna leave you with this quote. Just reiterating the fact that Social Security is a complicated fiscal system. But again, you're all here tonight to learn just more foundational understanding about that and give you some insights of how to start maximizing that for yourself. So Sean, I'm gonna pass the mic to you for the clicker.
All right. Well, thanks. Started to call her Sweetie. I'm not supposed to do that. Right? Thanks, Kim Weaver. She is the Queen of Crown Jewel, and I serve at the honor of the Queen. All right. So before I continue on my part, I just want to share why I'm here and why I really love doing what I do. It was my last year of seminary, working on my Master's of Divinity degree in Indiana. And they told me I need to take this personality test just to see what career path would make sense for you. And I'm like, has anyone ever taken a personality test in Myers-Briggs? So you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And at that point, I thought it was literally pointless because I knew I was called to preach. I knew I was called to be a pastor, right? Why else would I spend 90 hours on biblical studies, Christian theology, and systematic theology if I didn't believe I was called to preach? But I didn't want to buck the system. I didn't want to be a rebel without a cause. I took the test, right? And my results came back. What do you think? Voila, a pastor. I knew that, right? Duh. But 1B shocked me. 1B said you would be a financial advisor or insurance broker. And I laughed at that, and I was like, me in finance? Not a chance, right? So fast forward 5 years later, graduated from seminary, and Kim and I moved here to plant a church in Charlotte. And one of my pastoral duties were to actually officiate funerals. And so 2 funerals literally changed my life. The first funeral, they had to wait a few weeks before they had the funeral because of some financial issues. And by the time they had enough money to do the funeral, they had to have a closed casket. It was heartbreaking. And so the second one was just as horrible as that one. You know, I preached what I thought was the best eulogy ever, right? I mean, I gave it my all. I sat down, took my hanky out, wiped my brow, crossed my legs, and the usher came up to me with a note that says, hey, can you take up an offering to bury the deceased? Wow. I'm like, don't put that on me, right? And it was at that moment I knew I had to do something different to help the community deal with their financial burdens, right? So I got all of my licenses, I became a broker and all that stuff, to my chagrin. And I started helping families with final expense planning. But I quickly recognized that in this industry, there was so much more I could literally do. I could literally help people build wealth. How many want to build some wealth? I could help people protect that wealth, right? Leave a legacy and live the lifestyle and retirement that they wanted to live and not be wiped out by some type of long-term care event. And so that's what got me up in the mornings. I got really passionate about this, and that's why I'm here, because I love working with AFES to help educate our people so that you will be empowered to make those decisions and have a lifestyle in retirement that you want and a legacy that you can pass on. So that's why I'm here, right? So that was me at True Destiny. And it wasn't all funerals. I did some weddings and Bible studies and, everything. It was fun, all right? So let's talk about the importance of definitions and benefit calculations and things of that nature. And as Kim said, this is complex, but we just want to give you some basic foundational things to keep you from not being as confused as we have been. So the first one is primary insurance amount, right? This is essentially the amount of benefits that you will receive at your normal retirement age, right? But at this age, your benefits will never decrease or increase. This is your PIA. The next one is COLA, and no, that's not Coca-Cola. That's cost of living adjustments, and this is the adjustments, increases that Social Security gives you on an incremental basis yearly. And just really to kind of help, as Kim said, fight off inflation. Good luck with that. Then full-time retirement age, the FRA. This is the age where you're entitled to your full unreduced benefits. And it's all based on the year you're born, right? So if you were born between 1937 or earlier, 65. 1960 or later, 67. Somebody tell me if you were born in 1959, I'll give you easy, 1956.
66 and a half.
Thank you, sir. Because I was like, I don't think I knew that one. That's exactly right. All right, perfect. So let's look at benefit calculations. First of all, your benefits are based on your lifetime earnings, right? And those lifetime earnings are actually indexed for inflation, as we said, but they'll take your highest 35 years of your earnings, and then from there, you determine your full retirement age and your benefits at that particular point. All right? Now, I know you've heard a whole lot of stuff in the news lately and all of that stuff, but here is the latest and greatest of changes. There has been an increase in COLA. What's COLA again? And so it's a 2.5% increase this year starting January. And then in terms of maximum table earnings increase, that's increased to $176,000. Last year was about $160,000. So if you made $200,000 last year, your Social Security taxable income was only $160,000. Now it's $176,000. So they've increased that substantially. All right. Another one is your increase in your actual Social Security benefits, and that's not too high. So what's that? It's about $200, and that's for people 67 years old, anyone born in 1960 or later. There's also an increase in benefits for surviving spouses, right? And if you're a widow or a widower living alone, you'll see about a $56 increase per month. Okay? And then the other one is there's been an adjustment to the earnings test exempt, the amount that you get. So now it's $23,400, right, per year. And if you make over that, your benefits will be withheld from you at a rate of $1 for every $2 above that $23,400. Now, if you're an individual that's reaching your full retirement age, you can earn up to $62,160 before your benefits are withheld at a rate of $1 in benefits for every $3 earned above that $62,000 threshold. But those benefits that are being withheld, they will be added to your monthly benefit the moment you reach your FRA, your full retirement age, okay? And this Social Security Fairness Act, this basically has eliminated the reduction of the Social Security for people who had public pensions. So they can still get the maximum Social Security benefits as anyone else. And this affects nearly 3 million people. So anybody, any teachers, firefighters, or police officers in here? Awesome, awesome. Thank you for your service. So this act helps them and other public service employees. Now let's look at some of the common decision scenarios. The first one is claim benefits early. You have your spousal benefits, divorced spousal benefits, your surviving spousal benefits, and your guardian benefits if you're caring for grandchildren. So let's look at claiming benefits early. Now, you remember Kim gave a number about $182,000 worth of benefits are lost. This is primarily the reason why people are claiming benefits early, right? So if you claimed your benefits early, you can do that as early as what, age 62. But if you do, there's a 30% permanent reduction in your benefit. At 63, it's 25%, 65, 13%, 66, 6.7%. But if you wait till your full retirement age of 67, you'll get your full benefit, plus you can keep working, right? So that's a huge benefit. But the reality is, life happens, right? They said life be life, and that's the new thing, right? You just need the money. I can't wait till I'm 66, I can't wait till next month. I need my money right now. And it's just the way it is. Or if you feel you have poor health and you don't think you can make it to your full retirement age, people say, let me just start getting as much money as I can before something else happens, right? Or if you earn less than that annual earnings cap of $176,000, you say, hey, maybe if I keep working, I might overrun that in my income. Let me start taking mine now. But at the end of the day, it's based on you and your family. It's your decision that you make, okay? And sometimes we need financial help, professional help, and we encourage you to do that. So let's look at actually claiming if you waited later, what's the impact there? So we know in this example, your full retirement age is 67. Each year you wait beyond that is 8%, all the way up to age 70. So at 70, you'll have a 24% increase in your benefits, roughly about $1,240 extra a month. So if you can wait, it makes sense to do so. Because taking benefits later also gives you a bigger increase, as any cost of living adjustments from 62 to 70 will also be applied to that number. So that number can grow quite substantially. But let's look at actually waiting. This is the whole gamut here. So if your full retirement age is 67 and you took it early at 62, from 62 to 70, that's a 77% increase in terms of the benefits that you can have. So it just makes sense to have a strategy, right? Just don't just start at 62 or wait to 70. You have to have a reason for doing what you're doing, okay? So let's look at the spousal benefits. When a worker files for retirement benefits, the worker's spouse may be eligible based on the worker's earning. So now if you're a non-working spouse, you'll receive 50% of your spouse's PIA. What's PIA?
Primary insurance amount.
Personal, who said that? My man, yes sir. Personal insurance amount. So you'll receive 50% of your spouse's FRA. And you can choose to retire at 62, however, your benefits can be reduced as much as 32.5%, depending on what your full retirement age is. And the genders it's gender neutral regardless. And you won't, however, get the delayed benefit or delayed credits as a spouse. But in most cases, it makes sense for the higher earning spouse to delay their benefits to age 70 so that you can maximize your total benefit. So that's when you just kind of sit down and just do the math and see what really makes sense for you guys. Okay, so let's do a case study. And these kind of case studies are all hypothetical. This is just kind of a high level view just to kind of show you how you calculate that. But we suggest you get in with a qualified financial professional to help you with your own individual situation. So Judy works outside the home. Her PIA is $1,000. Her Jim retires, her husband, at 66, and he claims his at $2,400. At age 62, Judy's like, you're not gonna be retired by yourself. I'm gonna retire early so I can hang out with you. And her full retirement age is 66. So reduced monthly benefits, her $1,000 benefit minus the 25% early benefit reduction gives her $750 for reduced monthly benefits. Now there's a spousal add-on to that as well. Remember, she gets 50% of his PIA, so that's $1,200. So that gives her $200 for her spousal add-on. But it's reduced because of a 30% early benefit because she took it at 62. Negates it to $140, and as a result, her total monthly is about $890 reduced monthly benefits for taking it early. Okay? Now, the divorced spouses work pretty similarly with some caveats. If you are divorced, you can receive benefits based on your ex-spouse's record, even if they've remarried. Yeah. Some of y'all looking like, really? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Let's go.
Right.
To another person.
Huh?
To each other or to another person?
To another person. Yeah. Hey, that's a good question though. If you're currently unmarried, your marriage lasted at least 10 years plus. Some of y'all doing the math right now. Stop it. Stop. The benefit you're entitled to is less than the benefit you will receive based on your ex-spouse's work. Okay? So, Kim and I had a client that this has actually worked perfect for her. She just turned 62. She hated her job. She was ready to retire, but she just didn't feel like the numbers added up. And she didn't know she can get a divorcial spousal benefit because her ex-husband, she had a sugar baby or sugar mama or whatever. But he had like 3 of them. He'd been married 3 more times since then. So she didn't think she could get any money. We did this benefit on her, and because he made so much more money than she did, she was able to take the additional spousal benefits, even though they were divorced and he had already remarried, because she met the criteria and she had enough money to make her retirement. But she didn't know that. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Sure. What if the ex-spouse is passed?
Great question. We're going to show that in just a second.
Okay.
Good question.
Sorry.
So this is the benefit based on what we just talked about. Gloria and Hank were married for 40 years, divorced for 2. Hank is age 62 with a PIA of $4,000. Gloria was a stay-at-home mother for most of her life, and her PIA was $400. Gloria is unmarried, not working, and decides to claim her benefits at age 62. Her FRA is 67 now, okay? So Gloria's benefit reduction, there's a $400, that's her benefit, the PIA. 30% early reduction, there's a $280. Plus her spousal add-on, 50% of Hank's, that's $2,000 minus her benefits, gives her $1,600 spousal benefit. Now you look at that Gloria's spousal add-on minus the 35% early benefit reduction from him, gives her $1,040 in reduced spousal add-on. So her total roughly is $1,320 for Gloria. Okay? So if the math makes sense, you pull the trigger. If not, we figure out something else, right? So surviving spouse, I think this is kind of, we're coming. Survivor benefit will be based on the highest earning spouse benefit, including any delayed credit. So if your spouse waited till 70, you'll get the benefit. And you need not have already, the spouse need not have already applied for the surviving spouse to receive the higher benefit. All right. And the surviving spouse may claim reduced benefits as early as 60 or 50 if there's a disability and if not married before age 60. And if the surviving spouse was married at least 10 years and their ex-spouse has died, they may be entitled to those benefits as well. Okay? So even if you're an ex-spouse, you can still be eligible for those benefits. But a survivor of a full retirement age is entitled to 100% of a deceased worker's benefit, including any delayed retirement credits earned by the deceased. That's your money. Next, we have the Carrie survivorship benefit. So let's look at this one. So Doug and Carrie are married. Doug unexpectedly passed away. Carrie is age 55 and she meets John and marries John. Now I don't know if that's John or Doug. I don't know, but you determine. Y'all determine who that is. But at age 60, Carrie went to claim Doug's benefits, but was disallowed because of her marriage to John. What did she do as a result of that? She divorces John, and now she's able to claim her survivor benefit. What's love got to do with it, right? Show me my money. Wow,
So it's more that you're not married, not that you were ever
correct.
remarried after that.
Correct. That's exactly right. Absolutely. So the guardian benefits, if you're caring for grandchildren, a little different. So the parents of the child must be deceased, disabled, or the grandparent has legally adopted the grandchild. And the grandchildren must have begun living with the grandparents before age 18 and received at least 1/2 of the support from the grandparent in the year before the month the grandparent became entitled to retirement benefits. Whew. Some nuances there, right?
Right.
The parents of the child must not be making any regular contributions to the child's support. So there are some stipulations. And if the grandparents are already receiving benefits, they will need to adopt the child to qualify for any auxiliary benefits, additional benefits. And stepchildren and adopted grandchildren may also apply as well. Okay? So I just talked about the auxiliary benefits for grandchildren. They can add up to 180% of your primary earner's benefit. Okay? So let's look at Maria. She's 68 years old, unmarried, and retired. Her FRA is 67. She has a $2,000 per month PIA, and she's the legal guardian of both Anna and Sophia through adoption. So she qualifies, the girls actually qualify to receive up to 75% of her full retirement benefit until they're 18 years old, 19 if they're in school and they're still living with her. Okay? So Maria's monthly guardian calculation, she has a 2,000 PIA times the 75% for both the grandchildren. That's $1,500 a month. Now that equals $3,500 because that's $750 per grandchild, right? So her new monthly benefit is $3,500 per month. Okay? Now I want to move over to cost of living adjustments as well as taxation. I don't like using that word taxation, but taxation of your benefits. So how do we calculate that? We know cost of living, designed to keep up with inflation, is tied to your consumer price index. And we know it's increased to 2.5% this year. If you're concerned about COLA not providing you enough income to combat the inflation, then there are some strategies you can need to look at and other sources of income to kind of provide you that growth, that protection that you'll need. And that's why financial professionals can actually come in and show you how to actually leverage other dollars, okay? So the taxation of benefits. Social Security benefits are subject to federal income. It's just the way it is. Especially when you rise above a certain income threshold. 50% of Social Security is actually taxed. And let's talk about provisional income. This is how you determine how you're taxed, right? So your provisional income is used to determine your Social Security taxation of your Social Security benefits. It's based on your adjusted gross income before your Social Security benefits plus any municipal interest income. Now that's like your IRA 401k that's already been taxed. They'll add that as a municipal interest, and that will equal your modified adjustment gross income. Okay, plus half of your Social Security benefit. Yes, sir.
I missed it. What percentage of Social Security recipients pay the federal income?
About 50%.
50%?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good question. All right. So if you're single and you make between $25,000 and $34,000, you're subject to taxable Social Security up to 50%. If you make over $34,000 single, up to 85% taxes. If you're married, filing jointly between $32,000 and $44,000, up to 50% tax. And above 44, 85% taxes. Okay? So let's look at Jennifer. She is single and plans to continue working until age 70. Her FRA is 66 years of age. Her adjusted gross income before Social Security benefits is $50,000. Okay? So let's see, her gross income 50,000 plus the muni bonds 10,000. So her modified gross income is what, $60,000. Plus the 50% Social Security, that's 10,000. So her provisional income is $70,000. Is that higher or lower than required? Yeah, because the max for a single is 34,000, right? So 85% of the 20,000 Social Security benefits will be taxed at 22%. Okay? So let's talk about this handling claims and the mistakes that people make. This is important. So people, if you're gonna withdraw an application, you can withdraw an application for benefits once in a lifetime, and it has to be within 12 months of you first claiming your benefits. There's a file form that you can fill out, but guess what? You're gonna have to repay any benefits that you've received, doing any benefits, as well as the benefits that your spouse has collected as well. So just try to be smart about it, right? There's another way to do it. You can suspend the benefits. This is an option that allows individuals who have reached their full retirement age to voluntarily suspend their benefits and not repay the Social Security benefits that they've received. Okay? But suspended benefits earn delayed retirement credit. So you can get 8% a year until age 70 if you can wait that long on your suspension. Okay? So I know I said a whole lot, and hopefully it clarifies some things. We're just kind of scratching the surface, but I want to bring Kim back up so that she can talk about how to actually maximize these strategies. Yes.
Give you guys a second to debrief. I know
Debrief.
that was a
Woosah,
lot of
woosah,
information.
woosah.
And again, as Sean said, we're scratching the surface just to, I guess, let us get more comfortable with looking at this, because it's mind-boggling, and a lot of people have a tendency to either, push away or, wait till the last minute to make decisions. So again, commend you for being here tonight. But as far as talking about strategies and how to maximize those benefits, let's first talk about, just recap on what we've covered so far. And I didn't mention it in your workbooks as you were filling in the blanks going along the way. If you didn't do so, if you missed something, there is an answer key, I think, in the back of the book as well, so you do have that. But as far as those key takeaways, again, on average, about 50% of Social Security accounts, on average, Social Security accounts for about 30% of your retirement income. So again, that's a big portion of all your financial resources for retirement income, and it behooves you to want to maximize that along with everything else that you have. Again, as a couple, you have up to about 9,000 claiming combinations that can affect how you claim your benefits. And again, an early suboptimal claim of your retirement benefits could leave up to $182,000 on the table if you claim at a suboptimal time. And then about 50% of Social Security recipients do pay federal income taxes on a portion of their benefits. And there are strategies to help mitigate that or to reduce that tax liability. But again, it's when you're looking at everything as a whole and pursuing a comprehensive financial plan to accomplish that. And so at the end of the day, it's better to make the best and right decision for you on the front end, but there are ways to correct and suspend benefits if you need to. So, some of the first steps in trying to maximize your Social Security benefit is you want to start by answering these first few questions. And so the first question is, what are my estimated benefits? When do I need to claim my benefits? What is your full retirement age? What are your spousal considerations, if that applies to you? And then with knowing all of that, then you can, as I was just saying, take that information to look at your whole picture and then start maximizing strategies.
Your attention, please. The library closes in 44
Why
minutes.
don't
That was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, here it comes.
Children and adults, please make sure you have the right phone before closing time. If you need assistance, go to the nearest public service desk.
All right.
Study rooms will close, and computers will shut down in 29 minutes.
Okay.
The
Has
community rooms will close.
Everyone seen your
Thank you.
Social Security benefit report, have you pulled that or looked at it? I think you get it every year and get to see how it updates and changes. But if you don't have that, or if you need another copy, you can always go to the website and download that from the Social Security Administration website. So again, as this feels overwhelming, again, the key principle that we want to remind you of is just to look at this through the lens of protecting the income that you need in retirement to meet those basic living expenses. But then while you're planning, you're able to strategize and maximize those dollars to be able to provide more income for the things you want in retirement. So, you know, the Social Security Benefit Trust Fund is expected to continue paying out benefits through 2035. That's about 10 years from now. And if that happens, if it's exhausted at that time, it's estimated that taxes will cover about 79% of the scheduled benefits. So again, we don't know how that's gonna work out. That's a little ways down the road, about the time I'm ready to start claiming, so I hope something's still there. But you know, it just behooves you to kind of start looking ahead and making plans to maximize that as well as all your financial resources. So just to recap again, with your retirement income, you want to cover that your basic expenses, and then maximize those opportunities to have more funds available to do the things you want to do in retirement. Again, these are all the different retirement income sources you may be pulling on and that you want to coordinate with as far as when you're making that decision on when do you want to start taking benefits from your Social Security. Here again are those 6 financial risk and considerations that again apply to all of us, again maybe at just varying levels or degrees. And this is a good opportunity. If you still have that form in front of you, the response form, at the bottom it has a section that basically lists and asks you, you know, how do you feel about each of these considerations? Are you concerned about it? Is it a major issue, minor issue? Maybe you're unsure. So just check that, and that'll give us an idea and give you an idea of, you know, what questions you may have and where we might be able to help explore some answers for you. So, and while you're doing that, we're going to close out right on time, I think. And I'd like to just share another client story with you as you're considering those financial considerations. But this is one of our, a dear client of ours that her name is Carol. Carol, just a little background about her. She worked 32 years with the phone company. She started off as a switchboard operator and worked her way up to regional manager. When she retired in 1990, she had been responsible for publishing the Yellow Page directories. I don't know if you guys remember those catalogs. But she was responsible for that, so I always thought that was neat. But again, she retired in 1990. Here again, about 2023, she got a call from her longtime investment advisor saying that he wanted to meet to discuss her account. And so he didn't say why, but she had a feeling that he was calling to say, we need to maybe consider reducing your withdrawals on your IRA again. And I say again because she had already done so twice before, after 2008, after the dot-com bust, and again after the 2008 housing market bust. So Carol took it upon herself. She looked at her statements and kind of self-concluded that this retirement savings may not last too much longer. What are my options? What am I going to do to maintain the lifestyle she had built after being in retirement for 30 years? So she started looking at things like, does she sell her condo, maybe take out a HELOC or a reverse mortgage, maybe move in with her daughter whose home was starting to become an empty nest. Or maybe cancel. She had a long-term care policy that she had for years, but the premium just kept going up and up and up. So fortunately, she didn't have to make any of those choices. I was able to sit down and work with her and through the planning process, walk her through and find a solution that brought her more peace of mind. It provided her guaranteed lifetime income, very comparable to what she already had. So I think a couple months after that, Carol took sick. She went to the hospital and was then later discharged into hospice, in-home hospice care. And so being home with her family found comfort in knowing that she still had that long-term care plan. She had a full estate plan in place, and so that gave them some comfort in knowing that they didn't have to deal with those life-ending, agonizing questions, dealing with end of life. And they were able, just to be more present with Carol and focus on her in the last few days. And so I share all this to say that Carol was not just a client, she was also my mother. Lost her about this time last year. But I say all that to say, walking through this process with her, it just really deepened my commitment to what we're doing and why we do it, just to help bring other families more peace of mind that, dealing with life issues, that the wealth that you worked a lifetime to create is not all lost, and that it can be passed on for generations to come. So just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for allowing me to do that. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. This is a lot of information. I know it feels like a crash course. And so, again, we just want to invite you to, if you have any questions from tonight, because again, we are wrapping up soon, and unfortunately we don't have a lot of time in the library tonight. But, Sean and I have been doing this for a couple years, doing workshops, and when we do that with AFES, we always offer a complimentary strategy for anyone that wants to sit down, address any questions that you may have. So the next step is, if you'd like to take advantage of that, I think they may have already passed out a packet if that's something you want to do. But definitely go ahead and finish filling out your form there, and just let us know if you have any interest in that. We have some times posted on the wall here on the outside, and so if you want to just grab one of those and just add it to your sheet, if there's a time that works for you, we'll work out a schedule and confirm that with you. If, you might be asking, why should I attend a strategy session? And part of that is because, again, tonight we just covered a lot in broad terms. We're not able to really deal with specific questions and issues or concerns that you may have. So it's an opportunity to do that. Come in with any concerns you have or questions about tonight, or maybe any questions about your financial plans that you're dealing with. You may be someone who already has a financial plan, or maybe working with a financial advisor, and congratulate you on that. We do say it doesn't hurt to have a second opinion, especially if your advisor is not addressing some of these types of concerns that we talked about tonight. So welcome you to come take advantage of that as well. And if you don't know what time works best for you in the next few days, just go ahead and grab a sticker to just put on the calendar, and we can always revise the schedule. But other than that, as far as what you might need to bring, in that packet, if you do decide you want to schedule a complimentary strategy session, there's a financial questionnaire. And so that's something you can fill out and bring with you. You don't have to. But again, if you want to take full advantage of that hour consultation, you can bring that questionnaire, any financial documents or supporting documents you may have. And that way we can have a more comprehensive conversation. I think in the next couple of days, we'll probably meet virtually, but again, we can finalize the location with you. Our offices are actually in South Charlotte, right off of 77 in Tybola. Don't imagine many of you want to travel that far, especially on 77. So we're happy to come back and meet with you at the library or elsewhere. We can find a location that's comfortable for you or meet virtually. Other than that, if you want to just take a picture of, this is our contact information, the QR code will also take you directly to the site where you can schedule a time with us on our calendar. But again, we want to thank you for today and give you an opportunity to stretch your legs if you like. Also, if you're welcome to keep your lanyards if you want, and if not, we can collect those and recycle them as well. Okay? But thank you and appreciate you guys for being here tonight.
We made it.
Ooh, that's
Right on the nose. Yeah, we got some time to spare.
yeah, you can stretch your legs, don't have to rush them.
So she went to Strongman, where'd you go?
I went to Clark across the street. That's where I met her.
I grew up in Atlanta.
Oh, did you? Where'd you go?
Well, we started to change.
Okay, yeah.
Dad started we moved down.
That's
Tell you how long ago it was, the perimeter wasn't complete.
Oh, that's a long time. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Wow, wow.
So anyway, that's what we grew up.
Nice. Okay, she got a dual degree from Georgia Tech. She was studying in Georgia Tech for years. Yeah.
So, we had to sit.
Oh, wow, so everybody's there.
I mean, I get down there frequently just for Christmas present, birthday present, kind of. I like you. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming down, sir. Absolutely.